In the last video, we saw how we can put together a number of different steps using pipeline. And now it's also possible to use grid search CV, what we've seen before, or randomized search CV with a pipeline. There's a slight little difference here, and it'll make sense once we run the code. So let's go here. Actually, we'll leave a little comment. It's also possible to use grid search CV or randomized search CV with our pipeline. And now remember, the purpose of using grid search CV or randomized search CV is to try and find another set of hyperparameters. We've seen searching for hyperparameters with a classification model, but the process again is very similar with a regression model. Once you kind of learn it for one scikit-learn model, due to the fact of how well the library is designed, you can use those principles for other types of models. And now, let's see how we could use it, grid search CV, to find better hyperparameters, better settings on our random forest regressor, and hopefully improve this score. So let's type it in here, use grid search CV with our regression pipeline. So the first things first is we create a grid. So pipe grid. So this is going to be the grid of hyperparameters our grid search CV is going to search over. Now the main difference here comes in how you set up the keys of your hyperparameter dictionary. Let's see one for example, then we can talk about it. So preprocessor underscore double underscore, sorry, num double underscore, imputer double underscore, strategy. Whoa, you might be like, Daniel, that's a lot of underscores, double underscores, and what is even happening here? Well, let's finish this out and then we can have a look. So if we're having a look at this, what is this key referring to? So if we go back up here, if we look at our pipeline, the name of this step in the pipeline is preprocessor. Okay, so you're saying you can line up those, and then we've got a double underscore here. So it goes to num. So come up and have a look into our preprocessor. Then it's going to step into our num. Okay, that's starting to make sense. So num, and then imputer underscore strategy. So if we have to refer to num, so our imputer here is our numeric transformer, which is also a pipeline, which goes to imputer. Okay, yeah, that's where imputer comes from. And then double underscore strategy. Strategy. Ah, okay, so if you trace it back, it's going to say, try the imputation strategy of mean, which is what it is now, and median. So this is the main difference between what we've seen before with grid search CV and using grid search CV with a pipeline. This is where the names come in, the strings at the front of all our steps. You might be wondering before, what are these strings doing at the start? So if we want to access our preprocessor's num step, the feature, the attribute of num, imputer, and then the strategy variable of imputer, we have to do it like this. So let's step back through. So we go preprocessor, yep, this one. Then we go up here, preprocessor, yep, num, okay. Then we go up to num, which is numeric transformer. Then we see imputer, yep. And then we're going to adjust strategy. Okay, so that's the parameters for that. Now let's see how we would access our model. So we go model, double underscore, oh, shift enter again, getting trigger happy, model, double underscore, and estimators. So we only need one double underscore here because we're only going up one level. So if we access our model, which is pipeline, we want to access the model step. So this is where the model double underscore comes in. And we want to pass n estimators, which would be the same as going in here and pressing n estimators, but we're not going to do it there. We're going to do it here. We're going to pass it 100 and 1000. So again, this is just going into the model step of our pipeline, which is here, and passing random forest regressor and estimators, these two values. And then we can do the same for other features that we've seen before. So model underscore underscore max depth. Then we're going to pass it, let's go none 5. And then we'll go model double underscore max features. And then we're going to pass it auto. Actually, yeah, we'll just keep it as 1 there, just to save some time on our grid search. And we'll go model double underscore min samples split. I'm going to pass that 2 and 4. Okay, wonderful. So now we've got our parameter grid set up. How would we run grid search CV? So this is where we've already imported it up here. We've imported grid search CV from model selection. But from completeness, or for completeness, what we might do is do it again. So from sklearn.model selection import. You don't need to do this if you've already imported it, but we're just doing it so you can see where it's from. So from sklearn.model selection import grid search CV, we're going to create GS model, grid search model, grid search CV. We're going to pass it our model, which is again here in the form of a pipeline. We're going to pass it pipe grid, which is this dictionary here of different parameters it's going to search over. And then we're going to pass it CV equals 5 for 5-fold cross-validation. And we'll pass it a verbose level of 2, so it prints out a little bit of progress for us so we can see what's happening. We go gsmodel.fit, and it's going to go xtrain, ytrain. Beautiful. And so this is going through 5 folds for each of the 16 candidates. If you wanted to work that out, you go 2, so 2 variables here, times 2, times 2, so that's 2 times 2, 4, times 2, 8, times 1, 8, times 2. So that's 16 different combinations of parameters. We're doing 5-fold cross-validation, so it's going to do 16 times 5, which is 80. So once that's finished, here we've got an output here of all the different versions of parameters that it's doing. And once it's finished, we'll be able to evaluate our grid search model using gsmodel.score and pass it the test data. So this is the score we got before without grid search, so just the baseline hyperparameters of random forest regressor. Now you might need to wait, depending on how fast your computer is, you might need to wait a little while. So this is why it's always important to be careful how many parameters you pass to grid search CV, because it is going to exhaustively search every single combination. So what we might do is pause the video and wait until our model has finished training and then see what its score is. Excellent. So after about a minute or so, our grid search is finished, and we can see that if we evaluate our grid searched model, it gets a score of 0.333. Now, versus our original model score of 0.182, that's pretty damn good. That's almost an improvement of double by searching for different hyperparameters using a grid search. Now, we could keep this going for more different parameters, but in the sake of time, we're going to leave it there. And so, we've covered a lot, and if you've made it this far, congratulations. Let's have a look here. What we've covered. Shift Enter. Oh, what we're covering. It should be what we've covered now. So we've gone from an end-to-end scikit-learn workflow. We've seen how to get data ready. We've seen how to choose the right estimator/algorithm for our problems. We've seen how to fit models/algorithms and use them to make predictions on our data. We've seen how to evaluate models. We've seen how to improve models. We've seen how to save and load trained models. And now we've just put it all together using a pipeline. We fit everything that we did before that took multiple cells before into one cell. One cell of a Jupyter Notebook, we've got our entire pipeline using scikit-learn's pipeline function. Now, if you've made it this far, it's worth patting yourself on the back. So congratulations, we've covered a lot of ground in the scikit-learn library. But as you might have guessed, there's a lot more that's still there. But with what you've learned so far, you'll be able to take it on. Right? You'll be able to look at things, you'll be able to look at scikit-learn workflows, you'll be able to look at different machine learning problems and go, okay, I can kind of figure out that I have to get the data ready first. I can see if I can choose the right estimator/algorithm for our problem. I can go through trying to fit my model to the data and make predictions. Then I can try and evaluate it and improve it, save and load it. After I've done a lot of messy code, I can try put it all together and clean it all up. And don't worry. putting all this together, it's not like you're going to learn it overnight. And I don't expect you to, even after going through all the videos that we've covered. It's going to take a lot of practice, right? And hopefully you can use the resources that are available to you. So all the code that we've got here, it will be available in the resources section. It will be available in a notebook you can refer back to. But if you're looking for somewhere next of like where you want to go, the best place is the scikit-learn documentation. Scikit-learn documentation. If there's something that sticks out to you on something you want to learn a little bit more of one of these topics that we've gone through and covered, something you want to dig a little bit deeper into, maybe you want to look at different classification models, regression models, or clustering, something that we haven't seen much of yet, go to the scikit-learn documentation, go to the user guide, and step through all of these different categories here, and see if there's a little topic here that you want to read a bit deeper into. And again, it's going to be a little bit overwhelming to begin with, but with practice, you'll be able to start to make your own mental models of how you can use the scikit-learn library to solve your own machine learning problems. Now, with that being said, I'll see you in the next section. And we're going to put everything that we've learned in the previous section, section 2, all these tools that we've learned, we're going to put them together and start to work on some of our own projects. So take a break, revise what we've learned, check out the resources, check out the documentation, and get yourself excited for the next section. I'll see you there.